Okay, we are back with lines 92 to 96. And let me just blow this up a little bit. Get a little bit bigger. Okay. Here we go. Extemplo. Extemplae solvuntur frigore membra. Ingemet et duplices tendens ad sidera palmas. Talia voce refert, o terque quaterque beati, quis santora patrum Troiae sub moenibus altis, contigit opetere. And the line continues here. It's not an unfinished line, but I just broke it right here because it was easier to get a block of text in here that I could work with. So it will continue in the next video. Let's take a look. Extemplo Aeneae solvuntur frigore membra. The subject is the membra. Oops. Let's use red. I like red. Membra. All at once. Extemplo. The membra. The limbs. Aeneae. Of Aeneas. Wow, we finally get to see Aeneas by name. He was the Wyrm we talked about at the beginning of the poem, and now he's mentioned by name finally. Aeneae. Suddenly, all at once, the limbs of Aeneas, I did it in purple because it is a genitive, are solvuntur, are loosened, frigore, with cold. And maybe you want to think with a chill, maybe as in fear, maybe the cold of the sea, but also could be somewhat fear of seeing the storm rise up. And now, he groans in Gemet. Oops, that should be, sorry, squiggly. He groans, and the subject is Aeneas. He groans, and tendens, stretching, we're going to double underline because it would modify the Aeneas if he was there. Stretching duplices palmas, both his palms, means duas palmas, ad sidera, to the stars. Think of it as in prayer, to the gods, like they're on high in the stars. He refert, he speaks. Talia voce, he speaks such things, and this is talia verba. I'll put in verba there. Verba. Okay. He speaks such verba, voce, with his voice, and that is ablative, with his voice. How did he speak these things? With his voice. Seems obvious, but it's poetic, remember. And what did he say? These are the first words of Aeneas we get to see. O terque quaterque beati, quis antora patrum Troiae sub moenibus altis, contigit opetere. Okay, so he said, O both 3 and 4 times blessed, or lucky. Okay, so here's this que thing again. Who, quis, and this is the subject now of the next part, who contigit opetere, and those verbs go together really, who chanced to meet, okay, chanced to meet. Petit, this word, you might remember the word petit, to seek or head for. Chance to meet, and you got to put in mortem here. So I'm going to supply it, I'm going to type it in, mortem, who chanced to meet death. Okay, there it is. Chance to meet mortem. Ante ora patrum, antora patrum, you got an elision there, before the faces of the fathers. Okay, there's a third declension genitive. Okay, and we'll put that in there. Third declension genitive, and it's ora patrum. And ora is from os, which means, os means mouth. Okay, but in the plural it's oris. I mean, not plural. The rest of the forms are or, is, and then all the endings are the third declension. And it's neuter, so plural, it's ora in the plural, the faces. And it could be mouths or faces. Here, I'm sure it's faces. Would be the best translation. Sub moenibus altis Troiae. These are ablatives because they go with sub, the preposition sub. And moenibus altis tells us the high walls, and then of Troy. Genitive, Troiae. Okay, and it's the first declension, genitive singular, under the high walls of Troy. Okay, so that part one more time. Oh, both 3 and 4 times blessed, who chanced to meet death, supply that, before the faces of their fathers, under the high walls of Troy. It's not so much that Aeneas doesn't want to die, but he wants to die heroically. And to die out at sea on a shipwreck is not nearly as heroic as before the faces of the fathers under the high walls of Troy. That would have been perfect, and Aeneas has been robbed of that chance. So we'll find out what else he wants to complain about in the rest of this part. And remember, he's praying this to the gods. Tandens asidera palamas. And these are the first words we see from Aeneas. Not so much the heroic words you would expect, but Aeneas is this kind of a more emotional hero of the Hellenistic style, not so much like Achilles and Hector back of the Bronze Age. He's a little more touchy-feely, emotional, and so this is very fitting for the kind of hero that Vergil wants to make Aeneas. Okay, we'll continue in the next section.